Okay, you're afraid. I get it. But what's the worst thing that could happen? Hello guys and welcome back to BIZember, the month where I'm gonna help you make 2020 your most successful and most productive business year yet. My name is SaBine, I'm a growth mindset coach for female femtrepreneurs, and I also want to help you understand that growth mindset in your mind will be the best tools that you've ever had, and I will teach you how you can grow your tendency towards a growth mindset. So today we are in day 4 of my BIZember series, and it's all going to be about fear. So I'm going to explain to you what fear is, how you can work with it, and in the best case scenario, how you can overcome it. At the end of the video, there will be a task of the day for you again, and if you want, you can download it for further instructions via the link in the description box. So first of all, you need to understand what fear really is. So fear is a subconscious reaction to a physical situation most of the time. So really what fear does, it keeps us from entering very dangerous situations. So by that, fear is really useful because again, it keeps you from danger, it keeps you safe. So what's not to love about it? Well, of course, it used to be good. I mean, if we think back in the days, like thousands of years ago, people really had to rely on their instinct. So fear, of course, was really useful. Like with adrenaline kicking in, it's the best thing that could have happened to people to really keep them safe. But, you know, we don't live 2,000, 3,000 or even longer years ago. You know, we live in 2019. So nowadays, we don't have to fear any physical danger anymore. So most of the time, the fears that we have or the anxiety that we have comes from our mind. So it's something that we make up most of the time. But again, we live in 2019. When do we actually get in physical danger? So nowadays, the fear that we experience comes from within. It's emotional fear. It's the fear of the unknown. Because again, the brain wants to keep you safe, the brain wants to keep you happy. So if that's something that is outside your brain's comfort zone, again, the unknown, the fear kicks in, especially when you are generally not very confident or you haven't really had enough experiences in certain situations yet, so you don't really know the outcome. The fear of the unknown is really prominent nowadays, sadly. So if you remember yesterday's video, I talked about how the brain wants to conserve energy to keep you alive and all your vital functions running as efficiently as possible. So again, your body wants to save energy, and even though of course your brain doesn't enjoy being in a fearful state, it is still easier for you to live in fear than to take action, because again, action is a process, it requires energy and your brain doesn't want to burn more energy than necessary. So again, this fearful state is easier for the brain, and that's why it's so hard for you to get out of fear. And that's why you really have to understand how your brain works in terms of fear, because that fear is really stopping you from moving forward. I mean, this is not rocket science, but you have to understand why this is happening. And again, this fear is not physical. What's the worst thing that can happen? You're not in physical danger. So this fear comes from within, it comes from your imagination, and it comes from the unknown. So just think how crazy this is. I mean, your brain really wants you to be happy, but if fear is the easier way out, it will let you live in fear. Just like, let that sink in for a minute. Because again, if you've watched yesterday's video and you understood how the brain works, you understand that you have the power to rewire it, to reprogram your brain, to be more happy, to be more successful, to be more efficient, and to not live in fear. So I'm saying it again, you are 100% in control of your emotions, of your brain, of your state of fear. You only have to put in the mental work, and I know mental work is really difficult because you first have to understand what your mental state is. That's what this whole BIZember series is about, and that's also why I planned it chronologically, so it's really good for you to follow every video day by day. But again, you are in control, so you have to put in the mental work. It will take you time, it will take you effort, it will take you a lot of patience, it will also cost you some nerves, some tears. But on the long run, you know, it's for your sake, it's for you to become a better version of yourself, to live a happier life. So it is definitely a path that you want to go, that you want to really walk on every single day and complete milestones on a daily basis. So whenever you have a situation coming up where you feel fear, understand that this is your brain's easy way out. Of course it is a reflex because your brain tries to keep you safe. But again, if it's not physical danger, There's also, of course, something like a gut feeling, but usually a gut feeling and fear, there are two different things. If you feel fear, it's again the fear of the unknown. So decide that, okay, I have never experienced it, or last time it was bad, but I know now how to make it better. I have the power to decide how I'm going to feel about this situation. And there's this one quote that I really want to throw in, and the quote goes something like this: your comfort zone is a beautiful place, but nothing really grows there because nobody ever nourishes it. I think it's genius, so think about that again. So again, I really hope you understood now where fear is coming from, and now I really want to talk about how you can overcome the fear, how you can work with it, because again, overcoming fear is a process. It will take a lot of time depending on your fear, but again, if you just work on it consistently, you can definitely make it happen. So let's not talk about getting rid of the fear, let's talk about working with it and overcoming it, okay? If you haven't seen any of my videos or listened to my podcasts, and by the way, I will upload a very in-depth podcast about fear. I will link it in the description box once it's up. But I do repeat myself a lot. I know this is a YouTube video and it should be short, but I do repeat myself a lot because your subconscious takes in information way faster if it hears it over and over again. So my mission really with all of my YouTube videos is to repeat things over and over again, so it will be easier for you to get a grasp. And that's why, again, I'm telling you that fear is most of the time in your mind. It's something that you are making up. There is this one sentence, I hate it because I grew up with it, but that's also why I really love it. It's so powerful. And that is that sentence of what might people think. Guys, I know it is hard because the thing is that judging is a natural thing. We all judge. But judging doesn't always have to be a negative thing. Judging in its core sense means that you are making an opinion about a situation. And so that's why judging is not always like a negative thing, but most of the time for most of people when they judge, they do have some negative connotations with it. And that's why a lot of people are afraid what other people might think. But guys, what does it matter? What does it matter what other people think? It's their life. If they have a problem with you, it's literally their problem. You don't have anything to do with that because they judge you based on what they know about you. Or, if, for example, you are going after your dream life and they are not, then they are judging you based on their lack of action. Do you know what I mean? It's really important to understand because, again, if people judge you, it's their problem. It's their shit. It's not yours. And the thing is that you don't even know what they're going to think. Like, again, if you think what other people might think of your actions, it's again the unknown. You don't even know what they're going to think. I mean, maybe there's people who think that, oh wow, like look what she's doing. Like good for her that she's taking actions. Like I wish I would have that confidence. That could also be something that people think. But most of the time we are so afraid of what people might think of us that, again, fear is something negative, that we also assume that people think something negative of us. So it's so dangerous to get caught up in this unknown, in this fear, when it shouldn't even bother you. Other people's life, especially their thoughts, should really not bother you. And most of the time, people who do judge you in a negative way, it's really just a resemblance of themselves. Because those people, they don't really do anything with their lives, All they do is judge other people. They spend their precious time on earth judging other people, putting them down in order for them to make themselves feel better. Because they don't really have any accomplishments or work towards something meaningful, because that takes a lot of time, of course, and effort, and especially if they are stuck in a fixed mindset, they're not really gonna take action. So obviously it would be easier for them to judge than to put in the time and the effort and to really make something happen for themselves that they can feel proud of, and then stop judging other people. Because, I don't like saying that, one person is better than the other. But in that sense, if you are the one who's taking action, if you are the one who's making your dreams come true, you are better than them. I'm sorry, but that's the way it is. Because you are not wasting your time. You're truly trying to create something positive, something good. And if all they want to do is judge you, you shouldn't be afraid of them, you should try to motivate them. And another sentence that for me has really provoked a lot of positive thoughts is that successful people would never judge you. Successful people, most of them, they would never judge you, because if they have really built whatever success they have by themselves, with their tears, with their sweat, with their time, with their effort, then they know what it takes. They really do know how many milestones it takes, how much time it takes, how much mental work it takes to get there. So they would never judge you negatively, unless there are bad people, which that happens. But most of the time, they would really take the action and try to teach you something, try to help you out of the situation. But they will never laugh at you, they would never really sit down and be like, oh, you know, I'm better than you, or, you know, look what I've accomplished. No, they would really say like, okay, I get where you are, let's sit down and I'll show you. And again, this is really a part of the whole growth mindset thing, because with the growth mindset, you understand that you gotta start small and then you build your skills from there. You know, people with a fixed mindset, they want to get praised right now, they want to be perfect right now. You know, they spend like crazy amounts on shit because they really think that this is the thing that's going to make them better. But if they don't know how to use their thing, that's really not going to help. And that is in so many times the case when, you know, people think that, you know, money will solve the problems or money will make things better, but you have to learn it. And again, that's where the fear comes in. The fear of I'm not good enough yet, or the fear of I don't really know how to do it yet. But the magic word here is again, yet. You know, you will be there, you just have to put in the time and the effort. So, you know, when you're dealing with people who rather have a fixed mindset, understand that that's their BS. It shouldn't concern you. It's their stuff, it's not yours. So move on and just, you know, do your thing. It's the same way how there's always more than one solution, you know, because there is not one way of doing things. You know, everybody has their own way. 5 + 2 is 7, just the same way that 10 - 3 is. So really, you have to figure out how you're working. You have to figure out how you approach things and how you want to improve. Again, there is really not one way to do it. If you want to become a coach but you're not sure of your niche, then obviously you're going to pivot. It's fine. Or, you know, if you want to lose weight and you're not a gym person, like me, for example, I do dance workouts because I love dancing, I love the energy, so I do that instead. So if you want to overcome that fear, you really have to connect it with something that you want to do. You need to have like an emotional, positive connection with the things you want to do. So whatever it is that you need to work on, find another way that you really want to work on. But because if it's something that you don't really want to work on, it's just another stone in your step that will make things so much harder for you. But we're going to talk more about setting goals and dreams and visions on day 6, and especially how and why you should connect them with your positive emotions. The reason why I really like to talk when it comes to growth mindset and fear about the milestones is because I feel like the whole milestone situation takes away so much pressure. For example, if you're working on a project and say it has like 100 steps, or like I call them a milestone, and then, you know, you have to first complete 1, then 2, then 3, you know the T. But if you have 100 milestones and you're gonna mess up 1, what does it matter? Think about it. If you have like a box full of grapes and there's 1 bad grape in there, are you gonna trash the whole box? No, you're not. You're gonna trash that 1 grape and you continue eating, aren't you? At least I hope you do. So my point is, you know, if you mess something up, yeah, of course in the first situation it's not very comfortable because first of all, I mean, of course we don't want to mess up, but again, it also depends on how you deal with that. If you feel like, okay, you know, I messed up, like what am I going to do now? I'm a failure. No, you have to think that, okay, I messed up. But the good thing is that I figured out a way how it's not going to work, and I can use that knowledge in the future. So if you mess up and you see it as a failure, that's up to you. But really with a growth mindset, you understand that you have learned from that you have improved from that, and it's going to take you further. It's going to make you a better version of yourself. And that's why, again, milestones. If you mess up 1 of 100, who cares? Who cares? As long as you get there and you're learning from it and you're making things better, okay? And that's why it's also really important to start small. You know, you need to build that confidence that you can actually start, you know, complete things, actually complete them in a positive way. So you always want to start really, really small and give yourself that accomplishment, you know, of really feeling proud of yourself. It's so important. So start small, build that momentum, and then take it from there. Because also, if you start small, you're going to improve yourself. And if you improve yourself, you're getting more efficient in something. And then the longer you continue, the more efficient you get, the less time it's going to take you. So for example, my first video took me like 2 or 3 hours or even longer to edit, and now, or even recording, it took forever. And now I can really record like, I don't know, maybe even 30 minutes for one video, and that's it. Where like at the beginning it took me like 2 or 3 hours because I didn't know really what I was saying. I was continuously repeating myself, or, you know, like I was stopping in the middle of a sentence. And now I got so much more efficient. So that time that I have saved there, I can use on other things, like improving my editing skills. So I really hope you understood where fear comes from and how you can overcome it. Because again, fear is something that we make up because of the unknown. And again, it doesn't matter what people think of you guys. Like, because if somebody is judging you because of their fixed mindset, believe me when I say that they have a way bigger problem than you have. So let me again ask you the question that I had at the beginning of the video. What's the worst thing that can happen? And I'm going to extend it by saying, when you know that your fear is made up from your own imagination or your own fear of the unknown, and when you know that it doesn't matter what people are going to think of you, and when you know that failure will be part of your learning and improvement process. What's the worst thing that can happen? And if you really want to know more about fear and how you can master the art of failure, then stay tuned and tune in on 27th of December, which is actually my birthday, because there I'm really going to teach you how you can prepare for that. Okay, so now for your task of today, I want you to think of something that you are afraid of doing, afraid of starting, something that you have been procrastinating on for a really long time. Write it down and go really into detail. Then I really want you to become clear of the time that you have wasted already. So again, I'm saying that this whole series is for you to really get aware of your situation and how it is right now and build from there. I don't want you to feel bad. I just want you to realize where you're at, because realizing where you're at, this realization is really the key, the basis on what you need to move forward. Because if you're lying to yourself, you're not going to move forward. So really write down for how long you've already been procrastinating. Then the next step is to write down 2 emotions. And the first emotion is that how does it currently make you feel that you haven't started it yet, that you have been procrastinating for so long? How does it make you feel? Probably not really good, right? But I don't want you to stay in that state. Like, I really want you to understand that you can get out of that. That's why growth mindset is so important. For the next emotion, that's the one that should really fuel you. I will make a video about that in the future, also in this BIZember series, and once it's up, I will link it up here so you can watch it. But what's really important for you is now to imagine how you're going to feel once you've accomplished that. Even if you've started, just starting it will give you so much confidence. It will make you feel so accomplished because you have finally overcome the fear and the procrastination. So really imagine what that's going to feel like. And then take it a step further. Imagine how you're going to feel like when you've accomplished the task. Imagine what your life is going to be like, what your confidence is going to be like. That is so important, that is so powerful, so write that down, it's really important. And then you need to again reflect on the present. So why are you not taking action? Fear is a reason, procrastination is a reason, but it's not the reason. There needs to be something in particular. So again, this is why the word why comes into place. So what you have to do is you have to kind of rephrase that question and ask yourself, why am I afraid of it? Why am I procrastinating? And then you have to answer it, but I am afraid of this task, or I'm afraid of starting because, whichever reason. That will really be the crucial thing. And then once you have written that down and you have understood this video, you probably will already know, like, oh my god, like, what have I been doing? Like, I don't have to be afraid of the unknown because I'm making it up. I don't have to be afraid of what people are going to think because that's their thing. And I don't have to be afraid of failing because I can learn from the failure. This is so crucial and so important. But this is your task for today. Again, I will have a workbook down in the description box. I will have the link there once the workbook is done. So if it's not here right now, at least subscribe to the newsletter and then I will send you the workbook once it's there. But if you want, you can also subscribe to my channel, because again, I have BIZember planned so that you can prepare for 2020 and really make it your best, most successful business year that you have ever had. I want you to start 2020 on January 1st. Crystal clear with your action steps, with your financial goals, and really hit it then. Start and not start thinking about those things when 2020 is already here. So I really hope that you are going to take on the daily tasks, work on yourself, and become a better version of yourself already today, just by completing this one today's task. If you like the BIZember series and you want to follow along, consider subscribing so you will be notified of all of the videos that are going to come up. And I really would love to know what the fear is that you want to work on, or what the thing is that you've been procrastinating on, and how you're going to tackle it. If you already know now, then please leave me a comment. I would really love to know, and if you want, I can also give you some feedback on how you can overcome it. Because like I said, I'm a growth mindset coach, so I just know these things. And if you want to get to know me better, I also have an Instagram account, again, linked in the description box, so you can follow my daily thoughts, the behind the scenes, because I do a lot of those, and also my travel extravaganza, because I'm a diginomad. I change countries and cities all the time, so if you want to know more about that, hop on over to Instagram. That's all from me for today, and I'll see you tomorrow for BIZember day 5. Bye!